welcome to another episode of the Red Arrow Health and Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Marco, with my very nerdy co-host,
Jessica.
How's it going, Jessica?
It's good. How are you?
Good. Nice glasses.
Thank you. I don't wear them a lot.
No kidding. You should.
Well, yeah, but I don't need them to see. I just need them
Usually that's why people wear glasses.
and for on the computer because my eyes get tired.
So you can see.
I have astigmatism.
So you can see.
Also, I think I'm farsighted, so maybe I should. I don't know. What are you?
I'm nearsighted.
I'm the opposite, so I'm farsighted.
Yes.
That's how I remember it.
What are you drinking?
Whiskey.
Shocker.
No,
what kind of whiskey?
It is. I will tell you in a second.
Well,
it is. No, I found it.
Oh, okay.
It's Featherbone bourbon whiskey from Journeyman Distillery.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is really
I do
good.
like that one.
Yep. It was birthday whiskey, so yum. For me, what do you got over there? Oh, I see a torch.
Yep. Hang on for a minute. Let me torch this up. So I have an old fashioned that I'm going to smoke, but it's an apple old fashioned. So I'm using Traverse City Whiskey Company's straight bourbon whiskey that's infused with Michigan apples.
Okay.
And then I used orange bitters with it and our sugar-free simple syrup that we use for everything. I have not put the big giant cube in yet. I've got my smoker set from last week that we spoke about. I've got some hickory wood chips in there, and I'm going to torch it real quick.
Awesome.
And I'm using my world's greatest ass coach cup from Coach Dan because it's a taller rocks glass. So there's more room for more smoke. I know this is thrilling podcasting right now, but it's fun.
So flamey.
So flamey. All right. As soon as the flame goes out, I'm putting the little plastic container on top of the smoker to hold it in.
I think you have to put that on there.
I don't have to, but I mean, logic says I'm going to leave it in. Now it's so the actual
it's smoky in here now.
Yeah, it is. The actual cocktail goes up to the bottom of the ass coach.
Good. Right
Yes.
up to the ass.
It goes up to the bottom of the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest from there on up to the little wooden disc is just smoke, hickory smoke. And
Cool.
then I'll throw, when I take the top off, I'll throw in a giant cube and call it good.
Nice.
So I'll be trying that in a little bit. I love this gift.
It is fantastic.
It's a
I'm so
lot of
happy
fun.
you love it.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Well, I would toast you right now, but
No.
my drink's infusing. So I'll just say, hey, I've got my big mug here. I got a
There
coffee
we
mug
go.
with ice.
That'll be good. And now I
Ready?
can drink my old fashioned.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That was not a good clank.
Well, I don't know what
It's a ceramic coffee cup. I'm very tired.
Did you pregame the podcast?
I did not pregame the podcast. I did go for a run this morning on the treadmill because it's a dark and stormy night.
It is a dark and stormy
Or dark
night.
and stormy day.
It's going to be a dark and stormy week.
Yeah. Lots of rain, but hour and a half on the treadmill, and then I prepped dinner. So I had to get the marinade / sauce going. So we're going to have yakitori chicken tonight.
Yum.
Yeah, and if you don't know what that is, it is basically chicken on a stick with a nice Asian glaze over the top. Of course, we're low carb, so we went with a low carb version of that. And after I mix that up, and someone sounds hungry already over there.
I'm so sorry. I am hungry.
But so mix that up. Part of the marinade, or part of the sauce became a marinade. So the chicken thighs, I had to chop all that, went into the fridge, or in that, just absorbing all that flavor of ginger and garlic and soy and everything else. Sweet, sour, spicy, umami.
Umami.
Oh, yeah. And then
I'm really excited.
The
The
rest
sauce
will
was
get basted on, or some will be reserved for a dipping sauce. I've also got some mushrooms that I'm going to do the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll throw that in with some cauliflower rice and some rice noodles for the kids. And I got some stir-fry veggies for them, like baby corn. Because what little kid doesn't love baby corn?
All 4 of our kids.
Love it.
No.
Hate it.
They will not eat it.
Well,
we have the
I should have thought of
weirdest
that.
kids on the planet. I will eat it.
Well, okay, good, because I bought a can of it.
It's great. Did you buy bamboo shoes?
I did not.
Bummer.
I think we have some.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yay.
So that'll be dinner. And then I also got some veggies to go with it too, and stuff for a salad.
Cool.
Yeah. So now that I'm nice and hungry thinking about it, I think my drink's about ready. So here we go.
Okie dokie.
Covers off. Woo!
Oh, so swirly.
So swirly. One big cube.
One big pair of underwear. That's
Give
a
it a
book
swirl.
you can buy for your kids.
This tastes like camping.
It smells like camping in
It
here.
tastes
so
like
that makes
fall. It
sense.
tastes like camping. More camping than fall, though. I'm going to put a second giant cube in.
Giant cubes.
Anyway, how was the week, Jess?
It was busy.
Yeah, we were supposed to record this several days ago.
Yeah, but like we were doing something else that day.
And then the day after.
And then the day after I had a work event that I had to go to.
Big nerdy event. Did you have your glasses on?
I did not have my glasses
Talk about
on.
science.
But I did
The
have
science
to.
of behavior.
So I don't work near home. Like I work in a completely different state. And so they set up this event and it started about 3 hours after work ended. And I was like, don't really.
Ended for the clients. You
Right.
you usually have to stay late anyway.
Not that late.
It was about an hour or two after you get, hour and a half after you get done.
It's a long time to stay in a very dark building all by myself.
You guys could have gone out and happy houred before.
No, everybody had to get ready for this thing. So I was there getting dressed in the client bathroom. It's a really big bathroom. So that was fun. But yeah, it was a really fun event. Lots of people came to it. I got to meet
What
the
kind of
founders. So that was good.
It was at Founders?
No, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
No, this was at a baseball game.
Ooh. Major League?
No, that would
Minor
have been
league?
awesome
Even better.
too.
Minor league games are hilarious.
Yes, it was a
'cause
minor league game.
Nobody really cares about the baseball. It's all the stuff between innings, and it's the food, the crazy food they have.
There's a tiki bar there.
Well, that too.
That was exciting for me.
Did you have stuff straight off the menu, or did you go special?
Oh, I went special.
Nice.
I went full special. I asked her to make me a Mai Tai and she said, I can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, can you make me something that approximates a Mai Tai? And she goes, I can pour rum in a glass and put fruit juice on top of it. And I was like, perfect. That's pretty much what a Mai Tai is. So let's do that. And she was pouring the rum and there were some men across the bar from where she was doing this. And they were just like, their eyes got really big. And they were like, so you just basically wanted a giant glass of vodka. And I was like, it's rum. But
get it straight,
no,
dudes.
you have to put the fruit juice in it too. Otherwise, it's not going to taste very good. And there were jokes and it was ridiculous. And then we ran away.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you guys stayed mostly dry with all the thunderstorms moving through?
We were under like a pavilion and there was an inside area.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't too bad. I think
Did they feed you?
a little bit of sprinkles. Yes, they did.
Nice.
Hambos and hot dogs.
And everybody from work showed up?
Not everybody, but a good chunk of everybody showed up. And
Well,
that
that
was
was
fantastic.
Enough to make it fun.
Enough to make it fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was a good time.
Cool. Okay.
How was your week?
My week was a hot mess.
Great.
It was busy. It was stressful. I'm glad it's the weekend. And now I'll be editing podcasts, but I've got hockey tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
It got really dark.
It did get really dark, given that it's
3
actually not. It's 3 in the afternoon. I know we said dark and stormy night. It's not actually night when we're recording this. Anyway, kids hockey started up. Kid one's the only one playing right now. Tuesday night, I got asked to come in and help out with Learn to Play. They were at the last minute short on coaches. We don't have a kid playing Learn to Play, but kid one does goalie clinic right afterwards. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go early, especially since she takes forever to get dressed.
She does.
And then the next night she had the girls clinic, which is awesome. That one I'm not coaching. I just get to be dad. And
You get to
sit
be
and
a
watch.
dad?
Get to be dad. Kid 4 was with me, and she was like 11. She's like, they're all girls. I'm like, yeah, they're all girls. She's so cute.
She is so cute. Yeah, so she's got really pink cheeks right now. And if you ask her, why are your cheeks so pink? Like you expect her to say, oh, because I'm hot or because I have a sunburn or something. But no, she says, because I'm just so full of love. It is so cute.
Have we figured out who taught her that yet?
No.
Because my mom was shocked by it, and she goes, you guys taught her that? And I'm like, no.
No, I
we
think
thought she did.
I really think it's just something she came up with on her own.
She's so cute.
She does that
Yeah.
lots of times. But speaking of cheeks, I had a
Oh.
weird experience
Like,
over last weekend.
where is this going?
Actually, it was Sunday and then Monday that I had this very interesting experience.
Okay.
So I was making dinner for the kids because you and kid number 1 were at hockey. So I was making pancakes. I was down in the kitchen and there was one pancake already ready to go, and I decided that would be my test pancake. So I put a little dab of syrup on a piece, not even the entire thing, a piece of it, popped it in my mouth, chewed it up, and then my cheek like instantaneously became swollen and I couldn't turn my neck. And when I went to look in the bathroom mirror to find out what the hell had happened, like my entire cheek went whoop, and so had part of my neck. And I was like, oh my God.
Complete with sound effects?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I'm dying. So I waited like 10 minutes and then I got online real quick to find out where urgent care was. And I saw that the only one that was open was actually going to be closing in an hour. So I quickly called my mother and I was like, Mom, can you take the kids? I have to go to urgent care right now. And she's like, oh no. Is it an emergency? Do you need to go to the hospital? Your dad will take you to the hospital. And I was like, no, I just need to go to urgent care and I have to go right now. So can you come over? And she goes, no, we can't come over. You can bring the kids here though.
So in other words, happy hour was in full effect.
I guess.
Yeah, that's my guess.
So I quickly like screamed at the kids, get in the car. I packed up the pancakes because I continued making dinner throughout all of this and pancakes cook really fast. Wrapped those up, threw them in the van and I was like, get in the car, get buckled now. We're going to Birdie and Pop-Ups. We get over there. I basically threw my kids through the doorway and then hopped in the van and got to urgent care in record time, where I then proceeded to sit for 2.5 hours before they would see me.
Kid one was playing bad hockey again that night with the adults when she was playing goalie. And then it was a thin crowd because it was Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mr. Rink owner said, you want to skate? I'm like, yeah, I want to spend my Father's Day throwing pucks or frozen pieces of rubber at my kid. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Which, I mean, and I don't mean that sarcastically. Mm-hmm. That actually sounds like a lot of fun to me. So I did. I went out there and skated and, showed it to Dad that can still score 5-hole on her. She was all proud that she blocked a few and I hit some posts. I'm like, well, yeah, of course. If I'm trying to get it between your pad and the side of the goal, there's a chance I'm either going to hit you, I'm either going to score, or I'm going to hit the post. But anyway. So we finished then the early game for the leagues. I wasn't playing in. I was playing in the second game. So there was a break. And I went in, and just before I was going to get on the ice, she goes, hey, go approve we've got time limits on our phone, which for Apples, you can set certain times. It starts limiting, certain apps, which are most of them. And I still had it at the school year setting. We weren't on summertime settings yet. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll go approve all those. So I went to the locker room, didn't have Wi-Fi. So I come out, and all of a sudden, boom, my phone gets hit with the text messages, including, hi, I'm going to urgent care. The kids are at my parents' house. It's like, well, wait a minute. I'm about to get on the ice for my game. Mm-hmm. Do I need to leave? I mean, my wife's going to urgent care. This is serious. No. It'll be okay. So I feel like this is a trap. Cue the Star Wars memes of the dude from It's a Trap. A little fish-looking dude. I'm like, all right, well, text kid one because she's not playing in the league game tonight. And she'll be in the locker room playing on Wi-Fi through all her games. I just approved everything so she can play. So I went out and I played, and the whole time I'm thinking I told her that if you texted, come get me on the bench and we'll leave. So she never came out, but I'm also thinking, as I'm playing, every time we do a face-off, I'm looking over by the boards and is she out there? And for a while, she was out there taking pictures and talking to all the hockey people because all the hockey people love. Oops, I said her name. They love kid one. Mm-hmm. Every week I've got, especially the women, she chats with all of them in the women's locker room. They think she's hilarious. And they always come to me like, your daughter's so hilarious. She's so funny. She's so friendly. She's so brave. Not only does she stop pucks, she just talks to everybody. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's her. That's always been her. That's her personality. So she was chatting them all up. And then, when I finished, I came out and I'm like, Mom texted and she goes, no. I'm like, all right, well, let's get changed to get out of here. So I did catch a little grief later from people like, whoa, why were you antisocial? You just got changed and left. I'm like, because my wife was in urgent care. My team knew, and I already told them in advance, look, if my kid comes out on the bench, I'm leaving. And they're like, well, yeah. A couple of them are even like, surprised you didn't say come home right now before the game. I'm like, well, she's pretty cool. But they understood, but I didn't tell the entire league that, oh yeah, my wife's in urgent care and I got to split. So we split. We texted you we're going to drop the bags off because I don't have enough room in my truck for all the kids plus 2 sets of hockey equipment, one of them being goalie. So we dumped those in the garage. We didn't even put them away correctly. We just literally dumped them where my truck parks. and took off to go with the other ones. We were there picking them up, and you walked through the door at your parents' house.
Yeah. So back to me.
Yeah.
So anyways, I sat there for 2.5 hours, and then the poor nurse practitioner, who was the only one working, came in, and she looked at my face, and she was like, oh no. And I was like, do I have the mumps? Because 2.5 hours of me sitting in urgent care, I diagnosed myself with the mumps because it looked like my face. And I had a lot of the symptoms, except for the fever and the whole other stuff that goes along with the mumps. But it's fine.
The Google, so I'm surprised you didn't diagnose yourself with some sort of cancer.
I also diagnosed myself with cancer.
Okay.
That just appeared very rapidly in the kitchen while cooking pancakes. And
in your face. And you diagnosed yourself with what, colorectal cancer?
No. I did also diagnose myself with cellulitis, which is why I went to urgent care, though, because it can come on rapidly and it can kill you very fast.
Well, that's not funny.
It's not funny. And that is the real reason I went, though. Because I was like, maybe I have a tooth infection or something. But no, it turns out...
Maybe it's a tumor.
No, it turns out that you can actually get a stone in your salivary gland.
Like a kidney stone?
Like a kidney stone in your salivary gland, especially in the parietal gland. And I was apparently experiencing that, and it will cause your face to swell up ungodly big.
Well, I mean, if you think about it from an engineering perspective, of course, you have basically what's essentially a pipe.
Yeah.
And you go and you clog it.
Yeah.
You got pressure. It's fluid dynamics.
So it was brought on by the bite because you put something in your mouth and you instantly start salivating, especially like a pancake with syrup on it. It's delicious. So I started doing that, and the saliva was ready to come out, and it couldn't go back out. So it actually goes back up into the gland, is my understanding of it, and it will swell, and it is incredibly painful.
So it's putting pressure on the jaw, the sinuses,
and your neck muscle down here, because it's actually a really big gland.
On your eye as well, probably?
Not too much on the eye.
Okay.
I didn't have that. It was mostly to the cheek, to the mouth, and a little bit down the neck. But I could not turn my head, and that's
okay. But don't turn your head while you're telling the story.
So I was like, well, I don't want to have that in my face. How do I fix it? And she goes, okay, you need to go to the store and you need to get sour candy, and you need to eat them nonstop, and it's going to make you salivate and it's going to hurt. But what's going to happen is that saliva production it's what's going to push the stone out so that this goes away. And I was like, you are telling me that to fix my problem, I have to eat candy.
To make it better, I have to make it worse.
No, that's not the point. The point is, I had a legit medical piece of paper that said, eat candy. So I
read it because I didn't believe you when you told me.
I went to the store and I bought...
We need to take a picture of that.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I went to the store and I bought a couple
Lemon heads?
of... No, you bought those for me. They don't have sugar, so it didn't work. But they were good.
They weren't sour enough for you?
They weren't. They're very sweet. But it didn't work because the sugar wasn't there, so I didn't really salivate when I was eating them. But the sweet tarts worked really well. I also bought Sour Patch Kids because she said sour candy, and I was like, well, I like Sour Patch Kids.
I bought you 2 kinds of lemonade, too.
It didn't work.
Oh.
It didn't have sugar in it. I tried it. It did not work as well as the sweet tarts did. So I ate sweet tarts for 2 days straight.
I bought a bag of lemons.
No, that was not going to be something that I ever did. I'm not going to eat lemons. That hurts.
Suck it.
No, I did. Sweet tarts.
Okay.
So I was panicking, though, because every time I ate something, this thing swelled up to enormous proportions, and it was really, really painful and really embarrassing. And the next day, on Monday, I actually had taken the day off because Kid 1 and I were going with her Girl Scout troop to the ropes course in Indiana. And so I let my co-leaders know, hey, this weird thing is happening with my face. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to make it. And I was upset because kid number 1 is terrified of heights. And she agreed to go, but the understanding was I would be right behind her in case she flipped out. And that way I would be the one to stay on the ground with her while everybody else got to go and experience the ropes and the zip lines and things. But fortunately, the swelling calmed down enough where when I was eating things, it wasn't fluffing up to that gigantic proportion. So I got to go to the ropes course anyways, and it was lots and lots of fun. And kid number 1 overcame her fear of heights, and she did all of the ropes course, and she did all of the zip lines that she encountered, and it was amazing.
And now she wants to go back.
And now she wants to go
Take
back.
the whole family.
She wants to take the whole family, which kid number 4 is definitely not height-wise or age-wise ready for that.
Or weight-wise.
Or weight-wise.
She's not going to make it all the way down the zip line.
There are limits, and she has not met any of those limits yet, so she won't be invited. But I think everybody else would be able to go. The baby Bjorn.
Or a backpack.
She's very tiny. No, it was a lot of fun, though. It was great. And also, my cheek was all better by the end of the trip. So that was good. Mm-hmm.
So when you segued into this story,
yeah,
and you're talking about cheeks, I'm like, where is she going with this? I thought you were talking about it. I'm like, don't bring up a butt story or something. Like, where are you going with this?
Butt cheeks.
Butt cheeks. So like, you didn't like fall on your butt or anything this week. I don't know what you're talking about. But yes, I forgot about that. It was so long ago.
Yeah, a whole week ago. So loud.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, you know, the kids, it was a weird week because like the kids didn't have Taekwondo this week.
Yeah.
And we didn't even speak about this in the last one. So when I was 7, and it was a combination of one, I was in first grade and I was getting bullied. And I was also small for my age, kind of like, I don't know, maybe 2 kids, you know. Mm-hmm. And then Ninja Turtles were big at that point.
Ninja Turtles.
The cartoon, yeah, was just really blowing up on the popular scene. It was before the actual movie came out, the live action. So my parents put me in Taekwondo. And partway through, like, I got put in, and then my best friend joined, and then his dad and my dad, the owner talked them into joining too. So then the 4 of us went. Fast forward a few years, and we test for our black belts. Fast forward a little bit more, or actually another year, and the owner was having health problems, so she decided to sell. And my best friend's dad and my dad were going to buy it together, but he's like, "Oh, it's always been my dream to own a martial arts studio." And so my dad's like, "Fine, you buy it." So he bought it, and almost immediately got promoted at his day job.
Oh, fun!
So there was he buys it, and my dad's running it. Yeah, to which he's like, "Yeah, this isn't working." The other guy's like, "I'm never there." So then he sold it. That was 31 years ago.
Nice.
That he sold it to my parents. But with COVID and everything, it just really put a pinch on it. And it finally got to the point where they're like, enough. We got to pull the plug. The kids tested. They got their brown belts.
Their brown belts. That's exciting.
And, you know, the nice part for them, because they're like, well, we want to get our black belts. It's like your grandfather. Well, first off, your dad's a master in Taekwondo. But second, your grandfather, one, still owns the building, although he's putting it up for sale. But so they can go down there and practice, or they can just go over to Grandpa's house. And he said he will stick with it. My mom still has all their studio memberships and everything at the different vendors. So like the kids, when they want to get their names on their belt for their first degree decided black belt, which is the cool belt. I mean, the first one's just plain black, but after that you get your name with stripes, and it's your name in English, your name in Korean. It's cool. You're giving me that look like you guys are such nerds. But
it's not that. It's more of like, that's a really long time commitment.
Well,
it's like another 2 years, right? Before they get that.
It's 6 months after you get your black belt.
No, I mean from brown to that, it's like another 2 years.
About another year. It's not too bad. And it's not like kid 3 who's like, I want to get the 3rd degree black belt, so I can also get my sword. He wants to get this samurai sword. I got my samurai sword. It's in my closet.
No.
I'll sit there and like sharpen it when kid 1 has dates come over to want to pick her up.
Watch out, kid number 1.
Yeah, watch out, kid number 1's dates.
Dun-dun-dun.
Yep. Anyway, so it was sad because it's something we've had around for a very long time.
It is sad, but now your parents get to travel.
Yeah, which they are right now. They're off in Utah.
Is
that where they went?
Your dad wanted to go photograph wild horses, and
yes, they found them. I heard all about them.
Okay, they decided that Utah was the place to do it, and like I'm listening to this, and all I could think was, why didn't you go down to the Outer Banks or to Assateague Bay in Maryland? I think it's called Assateague.
Yeah, they just had a tropical storm go through there.
It's
you know what? There wasn't a tropical storm. Yeah, there's no tropical storms in Utah, so might as well go to Utah.
It's Utah.
Yeah, everyone keeps like, people ask, where are your parents? I'm like, Utah. What's in Utah? I'm like, I don't know.
Apparently horses.
horses and Mormons in desert and
Horses and Mormons.
atomic testing
Sorry,
grounds.
Mormons.
Yeah.
Atomic testing grounds. That's good.
Yeah. And a salty lake.
Yep.
And that's what Kid
Are there
3...
sharks in it?
No.
Could there be?
No, it's too salty.
Too salty for sharks?
Yes, it's kind of like the Dead Sea.
Oh. Are
Yeah.
there scrolls in it?
No.
How do you know?
Dead Sea
You don't
Scrolls
know.
aren't actually in the Dead Sea either. They're just nearby. Anyway,
How do you know?
how do I know?
You don't know. That's how. This
That's
is
true. I have not gone to
super
verify.
yummy whiskey.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are we talking about tonight?
Kidney stones in your face.
Oh my God. No, we already spoke about that. So now we're going to talk about continuous process improvement, which sounds
good.
boring, but it's not. So let's segue some music and then we'll get into that.
Cool.
Hey, Jessica,
Yes,
you need a refill?
maybe.
Oh,
Are we going anywhere tonight?
up to the kitchen to cook yakitori?
But we're definitely not going anywhere tonight.
Definitely.
Then yes.
Okay. Pause for a second so you can get a refill.
Yeah.
All right. Now, are you ready?
Well, I'm a little sticky.
Why are you sticky?
I think I got orange bitters on me.
Do you need to go wash your hands?
No.
This is just like podcast life problems. I'm sure there's a hashtag for that or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So tonight we're talking about, or this afternoon, or oh, wow, it's dark out there.
It's so dark.
Yeah.
It's a dark and stormy night.
We already said that line.
I know.
Continuous process improvement. And it sounds nerdy, but we are nerdy. And
We are such nerds.
constantly looking at things on how can we improve this for better for next time. In this case, don't put the bitters on your fingers. Or if you do, go wash your hands. Or when I still have things paused, go wash your hands.
I didn't know I was sticky.
Oh. So this follows up really well to episode 17, which was our creating your own, or building your own performance plan.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through all the steps on that. And once you get through all, the goal setting and on down the line, and you get to number 5 where you actually build your plan.
Yep.
And number 6 where you kick it off. And number 7 was review, reassess, and recycle in case you don't hit it out of the park the first time, which most people don't.
Yep. Me
Even
included.
experts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even working with clients, whether that be in business or clinically or in schools, rarely, very rarely is it a grand slam out of the park. This is amazing the first time. It usually takes some tweaks and some finessing, and as things evolve and grow, you got to continue to tweak it so that it still stays that custom fit.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like clothing. You can get it tailored. Is it going to be perfect forever? Probably not. Your body's going to grow and change, and then you got to adjust the clothing.
For sure.
So that's what this episode's about, is how do we approach this? How do we apply it to our lives? And hopefully that'll inspire people to kind of take that same approach.
Cool. Why don't you lead off with coaching?
Oh, yeah, coaching. Especially since
Coaching.
like one of the questions I used to get all the time when I was coaching track and cross country is, well, when do you start planning for the season?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was, I'm always planning for the next season. I'm planning, if somebody asked me in the middle of cross country season, I was already well into planning for the following cross country season, not to mention the track season that would be coming up that spring. It was constantly, as we went to every meet, I saved notes on that meet and how did it go and what could we do better. And I used to report it because the athletic director who originally hired me wanted all my thoughts on all the ones we went to. So I used to give it to him. And then he eventually moved up to principal because he was assistant principal and athletic director. Mm-hmm. And they brought in a new athletic director. And so I would finish each one and I would give him an after action report, which is a very nerdy thing we used to do when I was doing a military contractor.
Yeah, but they're important.
They're important. And I gave it to him and he came back to me once. He's like, you are so negative all the time. And it's like, I'm not negative. I'm critical. I mean, doing a critical evaluation of this is how it went. What could be better? And how do we get there? And how can we improve this? And how can we make the experience better for all of the kids, not just the ones on our team or at our school, but everyone there? Everything has room for improvement. And the fact that I felt that everything always had room for improvement, he felt that nothing was ever good enough.
Well, did you ever put in like things that went well?
Oh, I did, but he just like focused on
I
like,
see.
he, like
Okay.
if it was like boom, 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 like there'd be like 3 paragraphs of positives and 1 sentence of like, and this is the one thing that could have, if anything had to be improved, this is the one thing. And he's like, would ignore the 3 paragraphs.
That
I actually went through at one point when that was his critical feedback of me. And I went through, I'm like, okay, out of all the emails I've sent you, and just in case people think this is always negative, 94% only had positive statements. Out of the 6% that had something that could be viewed as critical or negative or neutral and factual, but not like sunshine and rainbows and unicorns kissing and everything.
Unicorns kissing. I like that so much.
That remaining percentage, it also had a ton of positive stuff in it. Mm-hmm. But he chose, like, in his criticism of me telling me that I was being negative, decided to focus on the few emails that included negative statements and then ignored all the positive in it, which to me was incredibly comical, although I was not laughing at the time. Because it's like, it's you and me. So while I didn't say it to him, but it's like the feeling of you came up very, very strongly. Yes. Mm-hmm. But he's also
that man
is incredibly old, so it's not like I can explain to him and I could even lay out stuff. I did go over his head and just point it out because he decided to CC the principal, to which I went back and to the principal and go, oh, by the way, and I delivered the facts, and he's like, look, I would give him corrective feedback, but he's older than my father.
That's bull. Do you know how many people work for me that are older than me? I have to give them corrective.
You don't have anyone.
There was one. And I had to give her lots of corrective feedback.
Well, and look, how many places did I work where I was younger than, people who worked for me or even my peers? I was younger than their kids. And that's just part of the workplace. But I wasn't going to go to the school principal and go, suck it up, buttercup. Be a manager.
Maybe you should have.
Maybe I should have. But he also was very stuck in that mind frame that if he was higher on the organizational chart, that meant he was better, smarter than everything. And that's not the case. Being a manager or being on that hierarchy means you're better at that role in motivating people in that job. That doesn't mean you're better at everybody at everything.
Yep.
And honestly, you should be surrounding yourself with people who are better at their role.
Absolutely.
So it makes the organization better overall.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Some people also have the viewpoint that feedback is designed to be just hypercritical and point out all of the flaws, but that's not what feedback is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you a jumping off point so that you know what needs to be fixed, and then it should also provide you with a path to fix those problems.
Very true.
Also, feedback should also be positive. You have to include positives with the negatives.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But don't sandwich it because otherwise...
No sandwiching. We don't do that.
Then you're setting up all your positives as precursors to negatives.
Also, then you can just ignore all of the negatives and just skip over those because, look, there's more positives down there.
But we're getting off on a tangent. We should do a feedback episode.
I guess so.
Yes. But in coaching, though, it's a constant I have. And like as we sit down in my office and I'm looking over my bookcase where every season of track and cross country, not combined, separately, had its own binder. I had my coach's binder. I have all my maps for our running routes. I have the maps for all the courses for cross country. I have every day practice had an agenda. All that stuff went in. Mm-hmm. So every season had a binder. Each binder is a 3 to 4 inch binder.
Yeah.
And as we went along, I kept notes and I started building the binder for the next season. Mm-hmm. Which obviously we got to the point where it was like, well, I built a binder for a season I never coached because I resigned back in January. But I was ready to go.
You were ready.
I was ready to go. It was just a hard decision to make. And it's that constant process of improvement. It's like, people are like, oh, you do such a great job coaching. Yes, but even I have room for improvement. And so I was critical of myself. Like, what can we do to do this better? What didn't go right? What could I have done better? And then what can I do preemptively to address that? And part of that also gets into the syllabus, which started out when I started teaching was a 2 or 3 page college syllabus, included the whole agenda for the entire class, the schedule. And I adapted that when I started coaching, and that was also a short one. And it eventually got, once they included all the materials and all my policies and everything, it was like 28 pages. Just like with hockey, when I'm the commissioner, we had a half page of rules for the league, and that half page included the rink logo at the top. And now it's an 8-page thing, and they make fun of it, but it's like it evolved over time.
And it includes everything.
Yes, including the appeals process and everything. And it grew out of when people had complaints. It's like, okay, guys, when I sit down with the captains, who are essentially the commissioners of the league, I am the commissioner, but they're the board of commissioners. The board of governors are our captains. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what? And some of the stuff's dictated to us by the league. And so when we sit down to speed it up, I actually annotate, like, okay, all these things highlighted in red, we can't change, so let's not sit here and debate them. Let's debate the ones we can change. And it's like, okay, most seasons we just like, yep, leave it as is. But it is funny for the average player how many go, Marco dictates all the rules. And it's
That's
like,
because they don't.
No, they don't know. But we review it every year. Every season. We have 3 seasons a year. It's a continuous process improvement.
Your cross-country syllabus wound up including a lot of really weird things. I think there is one that involves shoes on there, shoes? Like a guideline about having to wear shoes.
Because that's actually one of the state rules. So the relevant rules from the state says you don't have to wear socks, but you have to wear shoes, and you can't be Crocs. They have to actually be running shoes.
I feel like there's a bunch of rules that you wound up writing because of have to cut all of that out, but.
No, there was just the one that when they had to do all my runners kept a performance log in what they did, and not just the one that I just bleeped out, but a few others of that same season got really abusive in terms of turning their stuff in digitally. Mm-hmm. Like they shared it to their Google Drive and said, "Go find it."
No,
and like one of them, the one I bleeped out, actually literally said, "Go find it." And to which I'm thinking, I'm sitting in my office. It's 11:30 at night. I'm tired.
You 12-year-old.
Well, he wasn't 12, but the thought did cross my mind. Like, who the do you think you are? And then I go look at his Google Drive, and it is like almost at capacity. Oh, I am like so not in the mood for this. Send me the link for the file. I'll go find that. But I just said, forget it. Hard copy. The other nice part of that was when on the days where I sent them out for long runs or in track when they were doing their 800-meter warm-up jog and all their warm-up exercises, I had them throw them all in milk crates. And then I would go sit down and I'd quickly check the logs, the paper logs. Mm-hmm. So that was part of the improvement process. Like, I'm not accepting these things digitally anymore. There was also the season where I said if you signed up by a certain date for cross-country, I would go and print your log, which was great because, one, they're way thinner than having binders. Mm-hmm. The problem is, like, I spent all this money to get these things printed up, but they came out of my own pocket.
Yep.
And then that was a season where it felt like a lot of kids quit, but it was really only 6 kids at one of our biggest seasons.
Yeah,
we had
not a big deal.
Over 40. Yeah, but there was a price tag on these because I had them bound. I had them. They were spiral bound with laminated covers and and heavy duty paper. And I probably spent too much on them, but they were nice quality. So the kids who stuck through the season got a nice log they could keep. And the thing was, the kids figured out because they tracked their performance. And so the beginning of the next season, I said, okay, what are your PRs? What are your course records? What did you do last year? And now we're getting, look, we just got a request for kid 1 to play hockey tomorrow. Hang on for a minute. And thanks to the magic of post-production, I'll just splice that section out where I was responding that, yes, kid 1 will go play bad hockey.
Hooray.
Hooray. Maybe I'll go play too if they're shorthanded. I play in the game right after that, so like we don't have to stay late. The nice thing is it's summer vacation, so you don't have to come pick her up unless I'm playing the late game. She and I will get hang out. And actually that was nice. Like, not that you had the thing in your cheek, but the nice thing was that I played and she played bad. I went and I just took my pads off and changed shirts, but I put flip-flops on instead of skates. And I came out and I still had my hockey pants on and my hockey shin pads. And she got changed and came out and we hung out by the boards and we talked and we chatted with some other guys. And yeah, it was fun.
Good.
Anyway, so that's track and cross country and coaching, and even with hockey too. Although hockey's a little bit harder because I don't get as much notice. Like track and cross country, I was the running those programs, so I always knew season to season this is what I'm gonna have, and I'm pretty much the athletic director didn't do for us, so I had to go and contact other coaches in other schools and try to put together the schedule because he would do the bare minimum and I go, okay, these are the other ones I want. And oh, by the way, these are the dates that are happening. And I've already confirmed that they're going, but you have to give the rubber stamp that, yes, we're going and sign that we will pay the check to go.
Yep.
Hockey, I have to wait and see to, Mr. Rink owner runs the show. So he'll ask, and I assume I'll be coaching. He's implied that I'm coaching, but I don't know who I'm coaching or what team I'm coaching. At the end of the day, it's his program. I'm just coaching. Whereas track and cross country, I ran the program.
Yeah.
Which in some ways it's much nicer because it doesn't take nearly the time. He gets to do all the long hours and sweating it out. I just got to.
That's what happens when you own the rink.
Yeah.
You have to do the long hours.
You know what, though? He's doing a good job at it.
He's fantastic.
Oh, I know he is.
We all love Mr. Rink Owner.
And it takes a lot of the stress off.
Even the kids love Mr. Rink Owner.
But how about we shift gears a little bit and continuous process improvement? Yeah. Another one is the process improvement, the process of improving ourselves.
Okay.
Wow, it's coming down hard.
So much
I wonder if the mics are picking us up, but it just suddenly monsoon downpour outside the window. Anyway, the improvement of yourself in terms of exercise and diet. How do you address continuous improvement and evaluation of that?
I mean, you can look at basic metrics like, are your clothes fitting? What is the scale telling you? How big do you appear in the mirror? All of those are ways to get data about how your diet and exercise plan is going.
Doesn't need to be just hard data. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
It can be perceptional data. Like, how do you perceive yourself? Am I happy?
No.
Yes,
it can. It can, but just...
If it's just you. How about this? How about for just you?
For just you?
Your diet, your workout routine.
Are we talking about me specifically?
Yes.
Oh, everything is bad. It's all bad right now. Everything is bad.
This is like the anti-Lego movie.
This is...
Everything is not awesome.
No, it shouldn't even be not awesome. It should just be everything is bad. Nothing is cool, and you're not part of the group. No, it's so bad right now.
Where are you at with all this?
I
didn't say tell me how much you weigh.
I'm definitely not going to do that. Everything that I bought when I first started going back to work is currently super snug, which is not a good thing. Shut up. Inappropriate hand gestures. It's not a good thing right now at all. Especially going into summer, like that sucks. But I'm not exercising. The diet has gone completely out the window. So we have a purchaser for my company, and we send her our orders.
Are you going to purchase more clothes to her?
No.
Oh, okay.
These are orders for things for our kids.
Sorry, I'm making another cocktail.
We'll send her our orders. The seniors, they're called seniors. I'm not going to explain it to you.
Moving on.
They put in a weekly order of general things that we need in the building, like pens, toilet paper, paper towels, forks, things like that.
Candy.
No. So the purchaser, actually, they've never requested candy. The purchaser, though, it's like, this is a building full of women. They need some candy in their lives. And we'll send...
Dudes need candy, too.
I'm sure that if he knew about the candy, he would eat it, too. She will send us a bag of candy, like, once a month. And it is not just like poopy grandma candy. It is like, it's bag of almond joys.
Back up. And poopy like, I know what grandma candy is, but poopy grandma candy?
Grandma candy is all poopy. It's gross.
Okay.
And that's why it sits there for 30 years and collects dust, because none of those kids are ever going to eat them.
You totally work with kids. Anyway.
You know what grandma candy is.
I know. Just the fact that you called it poopy grandma candy. Look.
It's bad.
I'm smoking another beverage. So
Good for you. Anyways, she will send a bag of candy, and then she's like, okay, it's on its way. It'll be there on Tuesday. And I added a bag of candy to your order. And I'm like, no, because candy is really hard for me to resist. And it's just freely available right there in my office, or in the drawer, or in the jar that sits on the front desk. It's a thing. Especially those pesky Almond Joys and Snickers. I really like Snickers. It's got peanuts.
Yes.
Yeah. No. So this has the free access.
I'm admiring the smoke.
The free access to the candy has been bad. The lack of exercise has been bad. The dietary life changes that we made over last summer completely out the window. So that is bad. And it has led to not like a significant weight gain, but about 10 pounds. And that's upsetting. And it's enough to make everything that I bought for work no longer fit as nicely as it did before. And that's a bummer. So I'm going to be starting from ground zero. Thanks. This has been fun.
So, yes, but in terms of process improvement.
Fired as a husband.
In terms of process improvement, though, what are you doing about it? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to implement change? Or other than just going, everything sucks. This is bull. I'm going to go eat some worms.
I'm doing a lot of that right now.
Okay.
I have made tiny dietary changes. I do not attack the bag of candy every day. So that's good.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Look, there's a difference between attacking the bag of candy every day and only doing it on super stressful days because you're a stress eater like me.
Okay.
Also, packing my lunch every day with something that's like tuna fish or chicken salad or hard-boiled eggs versus like 4 slices of pizza.
I tried to do that for you for when I lasted a week.
You did not continue it.
No, the problem was school got out. It was easier when the kids were still in school.
Yeah, that's because you had to get up early.
But we kicked it off and then school got out.
You work from home. It's nice.
I know.
You get to sleep in. It's good for you.
I don't. I'm up with you.
But you're not
every
packing.
morning I'm up with you. And on the weekends I'm up before you because I get up at the same time every day.
But you're not packing my lunch.
No, I'm not packing your lunch.
Yeah, so tiny things like that. I know that they will add up to big changes, but honestly, that's all that I'm capable of right now. I have not figured out how to build exercise into my schedule because I'm working like 11 or 12 hours a day.
Well, including travel, yes.
Including travel. But that leaves me at working 10 hours a day, and that kind of sucks too. So, and like we didn't open our pool this year, so that's a bummer. I really hate the treadmill. I do not want to get up early to get on the treadmill. I would get up early to get in the pool. I've done that. I did that all last summer. It was awesome. But the pool is closed this year because of the chlorine situation in the country, and that sucks.
Well, we're actually short in this area on of the good pool technicians, pool companies.
It's a thing.
We're down by 2 of them who just decided they've gone into other lines of work to provide for their families, and so there's fewer that are reliable.
Yeah.
So between demand on them and the price of chlorine, our pool's closed.
It's closed. It's sad. Maybe next year. But
hopefully next year.
That took away like my favorite avenue of exercise. There's biking. I adore my bike. I love being on my bike. I'm not going to get up at 5:00 in the morning to go bike around the town that we live in the dark. I just don't want to die that much. So that's not an option. I don't have a trainer for my bike. So that's where I'm at with exercise right now. Also, I get home and I basically pass out on the couch until it's time to go to bed, and then I go to bed.
Pretty much.
So, yeah. How about you? But maybe first off, what are you drinking over there? I saw you light something on fire.
Yes, I lit something on fire. You probably could hear it. This one's not a cocktail. This is just straight up whiskey.
You don't even have a cube in it.
I do. It already melted. It was pretty.
Oh, it was hot?
Yeah. It was pretty thin, but it was the last one I had left in the coffee mug I brought down to kind of insulate them. Anyway, this is Traverse City Whiskey Company's bourbon whiskey infused with Traverse City cherries.
Ooh.
This is one that your coworker left in your desk, which I was teasing him, like, is she trying to get you fired? But it was a thank you gift.
Yeah. She's super sweet. I adore her.
She is super sweet.
She's my wife.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway.
She is, though.
I poured some of that in, put a cube in, put the smoker lid on it, and then this time I used cherry wood chips with the cherry whiskey.
That is cherry.
It is cherry, as you take a swig straight out of the bottle.
I don't have a tiny glass.
I know.
I just have
the
my big
fun
glass.
thing was, as you were telling your story, so the glass, and I've been using this one from Coach Dan, the world's best ass coach, Marco Tomasi glass. There's imperfections in the glass, which I actually love, but in terms of putting the disc on top, it let all. So as I was smoking it, there's smoke wafting out and going over the control panel. You all right there?
Oh, God. It's so cherry.
It is cherry. So if you're looking for a cherry whiskey...
You could totally pour that in a cherry Coke and you would be the happiest person on the
God,
planet.
You would not taste it. That could be dangerous. Yeah. Or Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming cherry is one of the 23
It's gotta be.
flavors.
There's no way it's not.
Anyway, so that's what I'm drinking. In terms of my I'm constantly evaluating where I'm at. I'm looking at data from my Fitbit. I'm looking at data from the scale. I'm looking at data all over the place. I know that looking back, even though there's ups and downs, there's variability every day in my weight, in my exercise and everything.
Is it a lot of variability though?
It could be as much as like a really bad day is a 3 pound jump, and that could be water weight plus actual weight change. But the overall trend though from April until now though has been up, and I'm not happy about that.
Okay.
And honestly, what's frustrating is during the COVID year when you and I were going biking a lot together and everything.
For walks. Like
I
multiple
was
times a day.
in probably the best shape of my life. And right now I'm feeling a little, let's say, fluffy. I'm not that far off. I'm still within the range I've been since I turned 40. But also I was like, wow, I'm almost there. I'm almost to my target weight. And now I'm about 10 pounds off of that, 10 to 12 pounds off of that. And it's frustrating. I know where the fault lies. The kids have had a lot of potato chips in the house. They've had a lot of popcorn, especially cheddar popcorn. Oh my God, I love bags of cheddar popcorn. So they have like, oh, I'll just have a handful.
Yeah.
Which leads to another handful, which leads to another handful, which leads to too many.
They're so salty and wonderful and tiny.
That's
the problem is they're so damn tiny.
While as much as you love chocolate,
I love chocolate.
I crave salty treats.
I eat that too.
And so like, and especially like, kid number 3's got this giant bag, and he has a little bit when he puts the chip clip on and everything, but it's sitting out during lunches and of fried dill pickle potato chips. Oh my God.
Dill pickle chips are so freaking good.
And then kid 2 loves the cheddar popcorns.
Man, I'm not going to eat that.
But I love those. And it's things I love, and it's hard to resist them.
Is it the white cheddar though? Because I will eat
both the white cheddar and the yellow cheddar, which is actually orange cheddar. I don't care. I love the cheddar popcorns. So, I mean, everything in moderation, but, a couple kernels, fine. A handful, maybe. Nah, I want all the popcorn. I want all the chips is what does you in.
When we lived in Virginia.
And I'm not getting as much exercise in because it's
summer and you're here with the kids.
Well, but it's also the pool's closed.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting my swimming in. I'm not getting my biking in because you and I can't trade off, and kid 1 is sleeping in way too late. Now, part of the process improvement is I've added more running. I've added more treadmill, of course, right now because we got rain every day. But I've been getting up and going for runs before you go to work. I've been leaving. I've got my reflective little vest type thing. It's actually just straps that go across my shoulders.
Whatever, it keeps you shiny so people see you.
And I've got my blinky lights that I put on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I go out early in the morning and I get to work. Now, those days I have downtrends, but the days where I get up and I have, I'm like, oh, I need some coffee before I go run. You know what? It gets to be about 11 o'clock before I even get to go run. And at that point, I'm on the treadmill because all the kids are up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The nice part is, like, kid 1 is of age where she can babysit.
Yep.
If I can get her, like, get up and you're in charge.
Get her out of her room.
Yes. But it's part of that process improvement. I've got to look and see how I tweak my schedule and tweak the process so that I can continue on this improved health journey. Sure. So that could be around to, like, embarrass my children.
And your wife.
And my wife. Yay.
Yay.
How about this? Switching gears. You're a behavior analyst, a clinical behavior analyst.
Yeah.
You're board certified. You're licensed in the state of Michigan. You have all sorts of clients. We can't talk about specific clients. And I actually don't even really want to talk about your company. But in general, when you're doing clinical work in behavior analysis, continuous process improvement is part of the job.
It is. Like, it's
in terms of the clients and their programs. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Every single day, I open up their data for their various behaviors and I look at it. And I am looking at trends. Obviously, for the maladaptive behaviors, I want to see those trending down towards 0. It's very important that we get those behaviors down as far or as close to 0 as possible before they transition back to regular school or transition back into the regular classroom.
Do you always get them all the way to 0?
Absolutely not. But it's actually not necessary to do that, because if you go into like a typical classroom of, say, second graders, you're going to see a wide variety of various behaviors. Kids are going to engage in a lot of these behaviors.
I'm laughing a little bit because when I worked in the schools, and I worked at a variety of elementary schools.
Yeah.
Second grade, and one of the colleagues I worked with actually came up with a online digital paperless referral system, which also allowed us to look at all the referral data, the discipline referral data. Second grade was always the best, and we pretty much hypothesized this was because second graders are old enough where they've learned all the rules, they've made the adjustments that the kindergartners and the first graders quite haven't fully adjusted to yet. But they don't feel like they own the joint yet, like the third, fourth, and fifth graders.
Fifth graders are the worst.
Oh, they're the worst because they're like, oh, we own this town, we run this. But the second graders was that happy, perfect ground where they've habituated to the system. They know how to do the things. They know how to comply and follow directions, but they aren't too big for their britches yet.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No.
And by the way, maladaptive behavior for the non-nerd group we have listening.
Bad behavior. So like crying, whining, hitting people, throwing things, flopping on the floor, running away from the teacher, that sort of thing.
Things all that aren't
those
useful.
things that you don't want to happen, those are all maladaptive behaviors. So
throwing chairs across the room for my clients.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like basically launching a chair at the teacher and then turning to the rest of the class and with both middle fingers up going, suck it.
Kids are so funny.
Well, my clients were a lot of fun. It's like, let me address this. And when it's all done, I'm going to close the door to my office and put my head on my desk and just start laughing as I try to write up what the hell just happened.
They do funny shit. Kids are hilarious.
Anyway.
Even our own kids do funny
if something is adaptive, it's what you want to see. It's proactive. It's appropriate behavior.
Pro-social behaviors.
Yes. And maladaptive is
bad.
Yes. Not appropriate, not constructive, not what you want to see.
Yeah. So like
going back to your clients.
Okay. So, like some level of maladaptive behavior is appropriate depending on the child's age. So in second grade, we are not really expecting our kids to sit in their chairs nonstop and be perfect little humans who never engage in any sort of refusal or crying or whining behavior. That's just not going to happen. They're not high schoolers. They cannot do that yet. They might say, I don't want to read this paper. And they'll have a moment that lasts for 1 or 2 minutes, and then they get over it and they do the thing that we tell them to do. I have a couple of clients where I'm like, you guys are going to school. It's going to be amazing. And they are at that point now where they're like, no, I don't want to write my spelling words. And then they write their spelling words. And in IEP meetings, I talk about this and I'm like, yes, they're still engaging in refusal behaviors, but their refusal behaviors are lasting for 1 minute or less. And if you go into the typical classroom, you are going to find like 10 other kids who are also doing the exact same thing. So this behavior is typical of the age group that this child is in, and that's awesome. But it's not at 0. So you don't necessarily have to be at 0 to be like mainstreamed and considered normal. There is no normal.
There's
no normal.
Statistically speaking, there is.
No.
But in all reality and with humans, there's not.
There's no normal. There's things that people find socially acceptable.
Yes. And I like that term better, socially acceptable than normal.
Right. I hate the word normal.
When people say normal, I always throw all sorts of caveats at that.
What's normal? I think it's normal to sit in my room by myself. You might not, but I do. It's fine.
It's not
hurting anyone.
It's not hurting anyone. It's not inappropriate. Now it is when it becomes maladaptive.
Right.
Where
it's not like, impeding my ability to learn or to
when
function
it
as a
impedes
human.
your ability to function as a human, as an adult in society. Yes, it is in terms of like going out and working or seeing your children or having dinner with your family. But in terms of like, oh, it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a Saturday and you want to go sit in your room and read a book, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
That's not abnormal.
No. So my goal as a clinician is, one, to get those behaviors down to as close to 0 as possible. It is never fun when you have a client who's smacking themselves in the face nonstop. That sucks. It's hard for the parent. It's hard for me. It's hard for my staff. It's hard when you've got a kid who's bashing her head into the wall. Nobody wants to see that.
When they get a math worksheet put in front of them and they throw again another throw a desk
You had a
across
lot
the
of
room.
desk flippers, didn't
I
you?
had a lot of desk flippers and tell you to like suck my fucking nuts. That is
It's a thing. It happens.
it's a thing. Now, some things what is age appropriate and normal, quote unquote normal, but really what is age appropriate changes with age.
Absolutely.
So when there's just a crying fit, if we were to give kid 4, who is 4 years old,
4. She's a preschooler.
if we were to give her a multiplication test and put it in front of her and say, you cannot play and be with your friends and play video games or anything until you complete this, and she broke down in tears, that would probably be age appropriate.
Absolutely. None of those 4-year-old. Well,
if we gave that to our nephew, who is 17, about to turn 18, who's in high school, and he was supposed to do single-digit multiplication table to get access to the Nintendo Switch, and he broke down in tears, that would not be age appropriate, especially since he's typically developing. He does not have learning disabilities that would impede his ability to do single-digit multiplication.
Right.
Yeah. So it's relative to what you
developmentally where you're supposed to be at.
Yes.
My goal is always to go get it as close to 0 as possible.
Way,
but if I can't get it to 0, I want it within normative ranges of what is expected of that child in that age range.
I just want to say our nephew doesn't act like that, but
he does not,
because he's still, out of our nieces and nephews, he's the only one in high school.
Yes, everybody else is long.
He's either in college or in junior high.
True. We do have a niece who
is in junior high.
Oh, solid point.
She's only going to 8th grade.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I can't completely knock it out, I'm going to get it down to where it should be for them to function in a regular classroom. Or if they're not going to be going to a regular classroom, okay, are we going to a group home? Are we going to a day program? What are we doing with your life? Are we going to work? Some clients are older and they're not going to go to school. They are going to get jobs and they're going to have to function in a group of people doing maybe a repetitive task, and that's okay.
When I worked in Tallahassee, one of the places I helped out at briefly, it was not one of my primary assignments, but it was a center for adults, and they either were learning trade skills, and most of them never progressed past the learning trade skills.
Okay.
But the ones who did, it was like, essentially, have you ever seen the light bulbs say box by the blind?
Yep.
It was kind of like that. It was like, can we do very simple tasks, things that probably could have done by a robot, but it gives them a sense of being, a chance to earn money, a chance to have a sense of purpose.
Independence.
Yes. Well, even something approximating independence.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that going on.
One of the people that supervised me for a time period while I was in Florida, he had some clients that worked at a woodworking. What's the word for woodworking?
Wood shop?
Yeah, at a wood shop. And
you had that class? You went to public school?
I did have wood shop. It sucked.
I didn't have wood shop.
I don't like drills and saws and things that can cut your body parts off. It's scary. Anyways, he had some clients that worked at a wood shop, and it was awesome because all they did was they employed people with disabilities, and they taught them how to do their specific area that they worked in, and they made Adirondack chairs. And it was really freaking cool because like these people would be in charge of standing, and these people over here would be in charge of cutting, and these people would be in charge of planing, and these people would be in charge of screwing. And it was awesome. And he took me there one day and I was like, this is amazing. And also Adirondack chairs are really, really nice. So great job, guys. You're making beautiful work. Fantastic. Dead air.
Sorry, I had a hockey sub text along with another guy.
Subtext?
He finally texted back after I texted him this morning. Because being hockey captain and hockey commissioner, your work's never done, along with the guy who is also like putting out the picture of wedding time. Like, dude, you were so clearly in a men's room.
Wedding time?
Wedding time. He's wearing a vest. He's down by
Is he getting married?
No, he's like one of the groomsmen.
Oh.
But he did a selfie in the restroom. You can clearly see
in the bathroom. Gross.
You can see the stalls behind him. Like, all I can think is because it's
cake in there.
Based on what he's wearing, it's totally a hipster wedding.
Urinal cake.
Oh my God. It's a hipster wedding. And all
fun.
I can, with the vests and the, everything. I'm like, We had our wedding in a men's restroom before it was cool. So hipster.
No, we didn't.
No, him.
Oh.
Yeah. Or the one he attended. Anyway, shifting gears a little bit.
Okay.
Because we could go through all sorts of stories of working.
Oh, wait. No, I didn't actually explain what I do as a clinician with continual assessment.
Oh, okay. Why don't you do that before your stomach growls so much that it eats us?
Yeah, no. So it's every day I'm looking at my client's data to see if it's trending downward the way that I want it to for maladaptive behaviors, or is trending upward for their replacement behaviors and their and their skills behaviors. So if I'm trying to teach them their ABCs, is that working? Are our methods working to teach them their ABCs? If things are not working, I am going to go in and I'm going to tweak my behavior program to get those behaviors down or up depending on which way I want to go. I have had so many clients where I've got like 4 or 5 versions of the behavior plan because I need to get it just right. Maybe it doesn't work on the first try. It takes 4 or 5 revisions before it actually works and sticks for that client to be successful in their environment. It's super important to always be evaluating and revising as needed so that that person can have the best possible outcome, so they can live a successful, independent life.
Well, yeah, because people grow and change. You got to grow and change with it.
Well, you do. Also, parents, like I work with teeny tiny, adorable, cute kids with autism. Like they're 2 and 3 years old. It's wonderful. I love it. Parents are not going to be around forever. They're here now, but when that kid is like 30, 40, 50 years old, they need to be able to do things on their own. Their parents are not going to live forever. So it's super important that they know how to bathe themselves. They know how to clothe themselves. They know how to go to the bathroom on their own, among other skills. Like we always focus, there's a big push to focus on academics, but that's not all that's needed. We need to focus on those basic life skills that we take for granted every day so that we can be successful in all areas
of life. How to buy food.
Absolutely. We don't get to do that because of, like, we just don't have
with
the resources to do it.
Teaching 3
yeah,
and
we don't
4-year-olds.
need to teach a 2-year-old how to go grocery shopping. That would be awesome, but we don't do that.
3-star Michelin star menu.
No, for our 2 and 3-year-old friends, we are teaching them how to go to the bathroom. We're teaching them to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, wash their hands, all that good stuff. But we're also teaching them like how to play with toys appropriately and how to ask for help if they need it and all that good stuff. So
we're going to spend more time. We've got an episode slated where we're going to talk about what you do.
Yay.
In general.
I love my job so much. It's so great.
So as I was trying to do, let's shift gears.
Okay.
And way back in August, September, somewhere in there, we did the back to school episode. And we spoke about shifting gears, and we had a big decision to make, and it's a family thing, and it fits with this episode of continuous process improvement. And for a long time when it came to school for our kids, every spring, you and I reevaluated because we were sending our kids to private school. Mm-hmm. We were sending them to a Catholic school, and we were reevaluating, is this the place they should be? Because the school districts that we're zoned for, in their school choice around here, so like
sure.
The school district we're zoned for and the surrounding school districts are very good, highly rated public schools. But we chose to send them to the Catholic school that I went to growing up. Mm-hmm. And every spring we just evaluated. And it was funny because a lot of the people at the school, especially administrators, always felt like, they almost took it for granted. Like you're an alum, your siblings are all alums, your
kids already go here.
Your kids are here.
You're gonna do it.
Oh yeah, they just took it for granted. But it's like, no, we take a hard look at this every spring before we actually go. Like, oh, we have your deposit down every spring, like $250 versus the like basically
$10,000, $11,000, $12,000, $15,000,
16.
I don't know how much school costs.
It was
right the gym,
like for all of them, it was like $16,000. It's just like, I mean, come on, you can buy a small car.
You can.
Or under. I mean, you can. We have 4 kids. They're going to want some cars.
Corsicas for everyone.
There you go. But
Do they even make
it's an evaluation that we would make every year and look at it. And so this year it's actually one we didn't sit down because of everything going on, but we switched the school districts. So part of this too is, why don't we do this right here while we're doing this, is talk about, in hindsight, did we make a good choice and going forward? Because we don't have them signed up for private school. Next year we're sticking with our guns, public school. But did we make a good choice?
I think that we did.
Okay.
The feedback that I've gotten from all three who are in school right now has been wonderful. All three are happy. They were all successful. I'm not surprised by kid number 1 or kid number 3. I never anticipated them having a difficult time. They're very outgoing. They're very social. They're very, very bright.
To be fair, kid 2 is
very bright too. Yeah. And I am not discluding him for a reason. But his concerns are different than kid 1 and kid 3.
And people who've listened to a lot of our episodes know that he's got challenges.
Yep. He has autism and he has ADHD, and it's fine. It's not a secret. It's not something that we're embarrassed by. It just is. And he does not learn the same way as kid number 1 and kid number 3. And that's okay. Like, we need learners of every single ability and on every level in this world. It's fine. But he does have some unique concerns. And I think that this switch to public school has been very, very good for him, because this year I have been able to sit with him and have a conversation. I have not been able to have a back and forth conversation that lasted for more than one exchange with my son for his entire 9.5 years of life. 10 years of life.
Oh my God.
No,
Jessica.
I know how old he is.
I know. He didn't speak at the first part.
No, it's not that. He's fixing to turn 11. I don't, okay, 10 years. For his entire 10 years of life. That is a big deal. I have been persistent. I have not been quiet. I have been the squeaky wheel to get my kid the services that he needs. I thought at the time that we were making the right decision with the staff, which I'm not saying anything bad about the staff. I adore the staff at the private school. They did wonders for this kid. They worked so hard for him to get him up to this level, because when he first started school, he was still biting himself. He was still tantruming nonstop. It was very, very terrible. So I give them all the credit in the world, but I could not have that back and forth. He did not have friends, really. This year, I can have that back and forth. He has more support at this school. They have taught him so many things, and they've done it in a group environment with other kids who also have these challenges, and it has been so nice for him. It really has been lovely, and I'm so happy with the decision that we made for him, because I think that he has grown by leaps and bounds, and he would not be at this point if we had left him at the private school, just because they don't have access to the same resources that the public school does. And it all comes down to funding. If there was more funding available to the private school, I have no doubt that they would put the things in place that at the elementary level, they would have put the things in place. I love how you're responding,
because I'm over here making a face.
I know exactly why you're making that face.
How about this? It's
a very impassioned thing for me.
It is very impassioned, so I'm trying to tone down the passion a little bit.
Okay.
With me being a analytical nerd, and let's attack this one at a time, kid by kid, in chronological order.
Okay.
So kid 1, and by the way, I'm not arguing with anything you had to say.
Sure.
Kid 1, we knew would make friends quickly.
She is the epitome of social butterfly.
Well,
she could go make friends with a frog.
And she repeatedly said, and as we went through this, and I think we've brought up, and you really do need to listen to middle school melodrama episode, because it's the stories she has are hilarious. She misses her friends at the old school.
Yep.
She does not want to go back to the old school.
No.
She absolutely loves the new school. She loves her friends at the new school. She wishes her friends from the old school would come to the new school, because there's more opportunities. There's
so many kids.
There's more. And as much as the old school, and I don't want to beat up on it because it's also my alma mater. But also when we talked about it back in the fall, going back to school episode, it was the head knew where to go. The heart was stuck with it. And part of that was being nostalgic for
Those
what the
hurts.
school used to be. That's not what it is anymore. There's just more opportunity, more educational opportunity at the public school, and it's a good choice for her, and she has thrived there. And within a few days, within the first day, she had friends. Within a few days, she had her girls squad, and also the loosening of COVID, where they got to have more kids at the lunch tables and everything helped with that. And she has a big girls squad. And actually, on her private Instagram account, she put up a poster. She drew a little cartoon picture.
It's so cute.
Of all the new friends she made this year. Hopefully that doesn't make her friends at the old school sad, because she's still doing Girl Scouts so she can be around them. Just because you have new friends doesn't mean you have to, it's not a 1-for-1 trade-off. You can have more friends from multiple schools. So for her, I think long run was good. She was also at the point where she was ready to quit band, because the long-term band instructor had been there for a long time, retired, and financially he had to. He retired at the end of 2019. Jeez, you're hungry. Anyway, he retired. He retired in 2019, and they brought in new instructors for 2020, who then promptly quit. And there's a whole story behind that we're not getting into.
No.
Anyway, but between that and COVID, she's like, "This is miserable. It's not fun."
Yeah,
Also,
she
even when
was so
the
unhappy.
legacy instructor was there, she was the one girl percussionist, and all the boys took bass drum and snare, and she was left with xylophone, because that actually took musical talent to play different notes. You had. Well, from snare drum, it's how you hit it and where you hit it. Well, okay, same thing with xylophone, but now you got to hit multiple notes. So she played that, and she'd had piano practice. We had to convince her to stick with it for 6th grade band, and all of a sudden, those band instructors have such an...
She has the best band. They are so nice, and they're so encouraging and wonderful. It's awesome.
Lit a fire under her, but also because the school has more resources financially, they can pay licenses. So at the concert, they're playing music from the theme song from Avengers, which for schools, they have to pay the licensing fee.
Yeah.
To get that sheet music. And for a 6th grader, that got her so excited. You know, the what they call the wheel, where you do technology and art and woodshop, which a woodshop was more of problem solving and not so much cutting and bandsaws and all those things where people get hurt growing up. Mm-hmm. Computer programming, she absolutely loved it, inspired her. Her homeroom teacher was also her science teacher, which is one of her favorite subjects. She did well, and she's excelling. Next kid down the line is kid 2, who's our kid with autism and ADHD. He had a wonderful class, and part of that was he went in, he was nervous, but he made a friend right off the bat, because a kid he had known since Learn to Play, he plays hockey with, who is also just happens to be one of the sweetest little kids on the planet.
Yeah.
In addition to being a hockey player. And that led into, but he's got friends who, before he had kids who were classmates who he called friends, but it's like, these are just the only kids you really know. And they did their own thing, and they did sports. But now he's got kids who are into Pokemon cards like him and have similar interests. And because the pool of students is so large, there's students like him. And that's even before he goes off to the resource teacher. But even when we sat down for the IEP, which at the other school, which just didn't have...
It just didn't have the resources.
It didn't have the resources, because they got whatever was left over from the public school that is... That school, the private school, is in the zone for that public school, which is not the private school our kids go to. The public school our kids go to. So there wasn't the resources available. We go over to the IEP for the new school, and it's like, oh, do you want this and this? And well, you don't need this, but this person has got extra time.
As a practitioner, our child's IEP meeting was the most magical thing I have ever seen. I was prepared to go in guns blazing, being
because
the
that's
epitome of a Karen to get my kid what he needs.
That's what we've always had to do.
I didn't have to do that. It was great.
Because we had the social worker and the one catch-all resource teacher at the private school on our side.
Absolutely.
Working with us, plus us going in guns blazing just to get an hour a month of speech. We go into the private school, and they're like, we'll give you a speech every week. We'll give you
a PT. We'll give you OT. We'll give you whatever, except for behavior, because they don't have a behavior.
But the OT analyst has got extra time, so we'll throw that in too. And it's like, this is awesome.
What I really loved was that they sent quarterly updates on where he was at with meeting his IEP goals. And I don't know if this is just standard practice now across all public schools or if this is specific to ours, because I'm not involved with the public schools in our area anymore or ever. I was involved with the public schools in Florida, but that was like over a decade ago. So I don't know if it's just things have changed. But they would send home packets quarterly of where your child is with this specific goal for each goal listed in the IEP. And there would be a graph, which yay, let's nerd out over this graph. And then there will be a very detailed explanation of everything that they put into place to bring this behavior up, and things that they were actively doing and like how they measured this behavior and all that good stuff. And that was delightful for me as a parent and as a practitioner to see. I really, really love that.
I would say even his classroom teacher, his regular classroom teacher,
she's phenomenal,
awesome. Which I already love that we've already been informed that she will be his 5th grade teacher because she is moving up to 5th grade because that's a large group and they need an extra teacher and she's going up and he's already been assigned to her. So it's like perfect. But she was awesome in terms of letting us know what was going on. Like one day she's like, he seems a bit off, and it's like, he didn't take his pill this morning.
Today, sorry.
This morning. And
it happens every once in a while. Not often.
Very rarely.
Like, I think that was the only time it had happened that entire year. So, yay us. Good job, parents.
Well.
No, but what
we do put systems in place to make sure that he does it.
Right. He needs to be independent. We're not going to be here forever. He needs to know to take his own damn medicine. What I really love, though, about this teacher is...
But she noticed and she cared and she
didn't punish him for it. She just said, hey, I want you to know this has happened. There's a problem. Do you know what it is? I want you to be aware of it in case you need to follow up with your doctor, blah, blah, blah. That's great.
That's something that we didn't, depending on the year and the teacher, we did not get every year from the other school.
Nope. We got a lot of sunshine and rainbows from the other
Always.
school.
Which was a little bit shocking in the first parent-teacher we got where they tell us he's like a grade level behind on reading, which he is now caught up on.
Yeah, he's great at reading now.
But that one, we were suspecting something was off, and we, especially, I don't want to call out the teacher, but we had a teacher who literally we had observed putting her feet up on the desk, just sitting back and chilling, and he had more than one occasion, and when the second time, it's like, not again. Well, sure enough, he goes up to 4th grade, and they're like, "Oh, like we know he's hard to evaluate, but we're through repeated measures seeing that he's a grade behind on reading."
Yeah,
that's what we suspected, and so
I had a massive temper tantrum over that. I just want everyone to know. But with his current teacher, what I really loved about her, this was incredibly bad, but she handled it very well. Kid number 2 came home from school and I knew that they were having standardized tests. And in his IEP, it specifically states he will go to the resource teacher to take his test either completely independently by himself and no other kids around, or with a very, very small, like 2 to 3 other kids, because he has it in his head that it's a race. And if you're the first one to finish, that means you're going to get the best score.
And we noticed this in 1st grade.
Right. And so like
yes, done. And his teacher at that point was like, no.
Yeah. She actually sent us an email that said, no. And
that teacher was awesome.
Oh yeah. She's one of my favorites ever. She worked so hard with kid number 2. I adore her forever for it.
But it was fun watching her when we went in for parent teacher conference and she was doing car line duty and we're looking at another kid's desk. Because it was one of those ones where they had the open slot at the end. And somebody's pencil bag, one of the kids, was a Crown Royal bag. So we're laughing, and she comes in. She's like, "What?" And we're like,
"You over there." At your kids' pencil boxes lately.
I mean, she's like, hangs her head, like, "I'm so sorry." And she's so embarrassed. We're like, "No, we think it's funny."
Oh yeah, it was hysterical. It's a long-standing joke now between all of us. Yes. But
she was an exceptional.
Anyways,
teacher.
Back to the standardized test.
Still is.
It was the math version, which is always harder for kid number 2. And so I knew it was coming, and that evening I got home from work and I was like, "Kid number 2, how was your math test?" And he goes, "It was great. I did it in my classroom with Mrs. blah, blah, blah. And I was the first one." And I was like, "Oh, no. What do you mean you did it with Mrs. whatever?" And he goes, yeah, I was in my class and we took the test and it took like 4 hours and I was with everybody else and I was the first one. And I was like,
And this is the standardized test for the state.
Exactly. So I sent her a very nice email. I am incredibly nice at first. If you don't do what I want you to do, I get increasingly angry with you. But I started off very, very, very nice. And I was like, hey, I know my kid can be an unreliable reporter because he can be. But he told me that he was in your class for this standardized test that's very important, especially in terms of him being promoted for 5th grade next year. And in his IEP, it states, and we had an extensive conversation about this, that he is to go to resource teacher for this so he can take it by himself. Please let me know if this actually happened or if he's confused or if I'm confused. Maybe I misread the IEP. I knew I didn't. And she wrote me back immediately and said, oh my God, I am so sorry. I have overlooked this. I am linking Mrs. Resource Teacher to this because this is her area. We messed up. He's going to retake it tomorrow. I am so incredibly sorry. And that was it. He retook it the next day in the environment.
Because she also apologized to him and let him know that it was not his fault.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He had told me, he's like, yeah, she said she made a mistake and then she said that I needed to redo it because whatever.
He doesn't know that all of these things are in place.
No, but it was not that he had made a mistake and why he had to redo it because he hates doing standardized tests. It was that she had made an error, and so that it would be a great favor to her if he would go retake it.
Yep, with Mrs. Research Teacher.
All of a sudden he's so eager to please and help others. He was happy to do it. He is a people pleaser. Yes.
So he went and redid it, and they were able to see his scores right away. And she wrote me back and was like, he took the test. His score improved dramatically from the fall. Great job. This is amazing. We'll make sure the reading part also takes place with Mrs. Resource Teacher. And everything was fine after that. And I feel like if we had still been at the private school and this had happened, it would have been a show trying to get it changed.
I think it also would have been a problem because they would have rubber stamped him again, and we still would have continued.
We still would not have any idea of where he was actually at.
His reading level would be a grade level behind or more at this point.
Yep. Because private school is privately funded. Like, it is in their interest to keep the parents happy so they continue sending their child to that school. Yeah. And it's not...
Keep those feet up on the desk while you're not doing the job.
Look, I get it. I know who you're talking about.
Well, I know you know what I'm talking about.
That teacher aside, that's not the vibe that I got from all of the other teachers.
No.
Okay?
There's a lot of people there who are working very hard to help him over the years.
Absolutely.
But the thing is consistency.
Yeah.
So when we go from one amazing teacher to one who's resting on their laurels to an amazing teacher who's resting on their laurels, or a resource teacher who's amazing but only gets him a fraction of the time.
Right.
It's better to have people who are consistently year to year amazing.
Yep. So I'm super excited for him to go to the same school again next year and have all these fabulous people in his life who are all rooting for him and pushing him to be the best version of himself that he can possibly be. It's really, really exciting.
And the friendship thing is working out really well too.
It is. Yes. It's nice.
How about kid 3?
Kid number 3 had a delightful year.
Kid number 3 end of the year was straight A's.
I'm sure.
Straight 3s as they do their scale.
3s. I'm pretty sure kid number 3 is like a super genius who is going to be an evil dictator. I think he's an evil super
genius, but anyway. He pulls all the strings.
He does.
Dude, use your powers for good, not evil.
He's definitely the third child because he sits back and watches kid number 1 and kid number 2 and sees where they went wrong and then executes things perfectly.
Or he moves the pawns into play.
Oh, he's such a dick.
But he's a sweet little dick.
Anyway, he's a nice little guy.
He is a nice little guy.
And he is very academically and socially. He's so smart.
Mute your phone.
I'm going to.
Okay. He did great. It was the right moving because his class, and we had complained for a while that this class is just not gelling socially. Academically, he was doing fine individually, but the social development wasn't there, and that is part of elementary school. That was totally there this year. Even with even with the COVID stuff going on, where we felt bad, there were several play dates and things going on where it's like just no,
it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work, and there was very few there. He did great.
No, but he had like the best year ever. He came home and he was so excited always to tell us what he had learned and who he played with all day, every day. And it was nice for us because what turned out to be like his best buddy is actually the child of friends of ours. So that was really, really fun to watch that happen because they hadn't been around each other for a couple years. And suddenly they were thrown back together and they decided each other was like the So it was fun.
Well, even when he showed up, the teacher's like, okay, she had been informed that this was a new kid coming in from the Catholic school in town.
Yeah.
And she expected him to be socially awkward and not have any friends. And all of a sudden he walks up and it's like Norm's from Cheers going, kid number 3, kid number 3. She's like, especially since they started out the year split by alphabet. Mm-hmm. And his class is top half of the alphabet heavy. So he walks in, and there's only 7 kids in the classroom counting him, and more than half of them know him from hockey. And then when the other half shows up, some of those kids know him from hockey. Mm-hmm. And he's just like little Mr. Popularity, and the teacher's like, what the is going on here? How does this kid know everybody? And then eventually it was hockey, and hockey actually ended up into the comments at the end of the year about what he should be reading. When he's not playing hockey,
did they? Because
yes.
I haven't seen the report cards yet.
I saw the report card. It's like he should read more. We know he's very much into fiction and fantasy type fiction, but get him to read some non-fiction when he's not playing hockey. Like, okay.
I'm sure that he went to school and was like, I had hockey last night. We did. Blah, blah, blah.
She was cracking me up because every time we had a parent-teacher conference, it was like, well, okay. Like even in what was it, October or November when we had the first one, it's like, okay, he could be right now for reading level, he could already be promoted to fourth grade. And he's in 2nd grade. But challenge him more on like the in-depth questions. Like,
yeah. So This was the thing that was hard for kid number 3 this year. They really apparently focused on like motivation with the characters.
What is the speaker's motivation?
Why are they doing the things that they're doing? Or what does this character actually mean by engaging in these actions? Or what are they thinking? And kid number 3
is still a 2nd grader going, he did the things.
Yeah. Kid number 3 is very practical. Like he is not interested in people's
He's such an engineer.
Thought.
He's
really
going to be an engineer and architect.
He's going to go to medical school.
Well, that too.
He might be a surgeon. I just
or
have
biomedical
to get used
engineer.
to anatomy. It's going to be fine. He does not care about the backstory or the internal motivation or
just he'd be like a behavior analyst. Did you do the things or not? Analyst. We don't care what drove you to do it.
Yeah.
Did you do it or not?
Well, we kind of care why you're doing it.
We care because we're psychologists and we're behavioral psychologists and we do care.
I need to know, is it detention, escape? Automatic reinforcement? That's what I care about. I don't care because you think your mommy was mean to you. That I don't care about. I care about, are you doing it to get attention?
Did you do it or not?
Yeah. Did you do it or not? And kid number 3.
I didn't mean to punch him in the face. Yeah, but did you punch him in the face or not?
Yeah, kid number 4.
He should be the commissioner of the NHL.
Kid number 4. I didn't mean to punch him in the face, but you did. I didn't mean to, though. It just happened.
I didn't mean to punch him that hard, but you did.
But kid number 3
you're suspended.
Is very like linear thinking. There is no, it's black or white. There is no gray. There is no interpretation of things. And so that aspect of the 2nd grade was very hard for him. And honestly, it's been kind of hard for us to explain to him why this all matters because I don't really give a Do you give a
about the motivation of the speakers? He does need to learn that and read inference into that. I think he does. As a 2nd grader, I'm not getting bent out of shape out of it. As a 4th or 5th grader, or 6th grader, middle schooler, very much I'm going to care.
It's just
As a
'cause they
second grader,
focus
because
on it.
it's
It's
not a
really not
second
that
grade,
important.
it's not an age appropriate second grade goal. It's the fact that she ran out of age appropriate goals and she was going with the fourth grade goals and the fifth grade goals
But
because
it was-
he's already excelled past all
It
of
was
those.
mentioned on every single report card, though.
Because that's all, because she laid out
She
for us.
wasn't giving him extra work, though. That's the thing.
No,
She was
but
giving
she
him
had-
like second grade work, and it was all focused on this, and we were super confused by it.
No. She had some other work beyond second grade that she was giving him because she
Oh.
thought he was bored, which he was, with the second grade work.
But
I also don't want him to leap grades because he's already
no,
so
he can't.
tiny
He's
for his
very
grade.
tiny.
Which is funny because he's good at pulling strings and motivating people, and everyone like, he's got his little army, but he's kind of like, if you think about back to Ninja Turtles, which we talked about at the beginning thing, he's like Krang, who is the little dude that looked like a
The
brain.
brain?
Yeah, had his little legions, and he's like,
That's from the cartoon. That's funny.
or even like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, or anyway those things. We have the little tiny puppet master with the like army supporting him. That is kid
Those
number
short
3.
people and them
I
becoming
know, you gotta watch those
dictators.
things. But long story
There's a
short,
long history of that,
he
right? Napoleon?
socially he had so much fun. He enjoyed it. This was the right move for him.
He has told us on so many occasions this is 1,000 times better than the private school because socially it was just more for him.
Oh my God.
It was better.
Speaking of, like, he said that, and Kid 4 spoke to that when she was on, or not Kid 4, sorry, Kid 1 spoke to that when she was on hosting an episode when you had laryngitis. Kid 2 wrote a paper
Yes, he
for
did.
school, which we heard about for months from his teacher because they had to write a position paper. He wrote a paper on why he was happier with the move, even though he thought mom and dad had lost their minds. Our words, not his. When we switched schools, and he was very terrified and scared, and it turned out that he was happier at the new school, which when we finally got a copy of that paper, and we're not going to read it on the podcast, but it was, one, it made us almost cry. And not just because of how he felt about the school, but also the writing
How
skills. in
well
it.
written it was.
Incredibly well written and justified.
Like the sentences made sense in order.
But
It's a big deal.
it was just that he felt it was the better place for him too. He recognized that socially, academically, it was the better place for him.
Yeah, I was blown away by it.
Yeah.
I really was. Also, he revealed some things that had happened to him.
That we weren't aware
Kid
of.
number 2 would take things and take things and take things and not say anything about it. And then he would explode about them months after they had happened. And close to when kid number 1 was graduating from 5th grade, he had like a massive meltdown on the front step of our house. And he, like, it was a bunch of verbal diarrhea of every single bad thing that had happened that had been festering all year long, and you were the one to deal with that. And he was talking about like this girl that used to bully him and did all of these terrible things, and we were like, what the why didn't you tell us this when it happened? And he was like, I don't know, I just handled it, it was fine, but I can't take it anymore, blah 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 blah. And this paper went into more of that he had not told us about. So some of it was shocking to us. And that is not a good thing. His teacher told us that we would probably be surprised, and we were like,
I
he's
won't
told
say
us
shocking.
his
It
stuff.
was surprising. It was very revealing.
The lunchbox thing was a shock to me.
Yeah.
I was not aware that people were trying to steal his lunchbox from him on a regular basis.
I was not
at the
aware
private
either.
school, run by Catholics
Well,
who are supposed to be morally
Catholic's
superior
Catholic.
to everyone else. And if you think that's a dig, it probably is.
Probably is, but also the way we've been treated over the last year. Screw it. Because
You're right. Catholic's gonna Catholic. It's
because
fine.
you and I talked about it, and some of the biggest holy rollers who were like, "We'll always love you," and it was like as soon as we pulled our kids, they treated like
you.
yeah, I know they treated us like garbage. They treated our children like garbage when I was coaching.
Literally called them garbage.
Oh, I know, and I was there, and it's difficult because there's so many great kids there, so many great families, there's so many friends of ours who are still friends of ours and still great to us.
Absolutely.
But it was some of the ones who are for lack of a better term, the holy rollers of the bunch who are like, I'm holier than thou. I'm nicer than everyone. I'm
so
the most
awesome.
Christian of Christian. It's
I'm
like
so attached to the 10 Commandments. I would never
but
break
they
them, but
treated
actually you
our
are.
children like garbage while I'm there. At the same time, they were also some of the ones who thought that coaching was my primary income.
Yeah, that was a magical day.
Yeah. And I'm like, your husband coaches middle school basketball. You should know that the coaches don't even really make enough to cover their gas money.
Maybe the other sports do make money, though. You don't know.
Maybe they do, but
football is usually paid very well.
Well, he was a basketball coach, but anyway.
But still.
You think I support my family on what I do coaching?
Right. Yeah, that's not going to... We have 4 kids. That's not going to happen.
This is a passion project that I really enjoy doing.
That was a way for you to give back to the school that you love so very much. And it was great. You did. When we moved here and we first started, you loved that school like nothing else. That's why we sent our children there.
Yeah.
I
jumped in the coach to keep the program going so that the kids had the option to do it when they got to middle school and high school.
Yeah.
They don't go to middle school, high school anymore. And I still kept on doing it until and it wasn't just some random parents. It was parents who are in positions of power at the school decided to treat I was used to being treated like garbage, but treated my children like garbage. And that was the end of it.
Yeah. No, when we decided to move back to this specific area, I told you we are not moving to this town because I did not love my schools growing up.
Yeah.
And you said, that's fine. We can move to this town or this town over here, and we can send them to my old school. And I was like, done. Because growing up, I knew that your school was superior to all of the other schools in the area. And I thought that was still the case. But
that gets into nostalgia, which we've spoken about.
It turned out that wasn't the case for all of our children.
So
anyways, we veered very far off course.
Well, we have, but at the same point, this is our talk through process we have every year.
Absolutely.
But where to send kids back to school. This is very late for us because we pretty much, for the first time ever, it was almost a foregone conclusion. But we're critical, we evaluate, we go kid by kid, what's right, and then what's right for the family because we want our kids at the same school system. And
honestly, if this year had not gone well, I don't know what we would have done. It would have either been send them back to the private school because we know it, or it would have been try and get them in at the other public school down the road, which I would have had massive anxiety over because I really
I'll let you
did not love it.
A little what we call rumint in the intel field, which is rumor. Well, we have OSINT, which is open source intelligence. We have SIGINT, which is signal intelligence. We have all sorts of these different ints. HUMINT, which is human intelligence. And we have RUMINT, which is rumor intelligence.
Oh, rumors. I love rumors.
Rumor intelligence there is another psychologist similar to myself, different branch of psychology, who has kids about the same age as our kids, who around the time we yanked our kids out of the public schools, yanked our kids out of private school to public school, yanked his kids out of the public school and sent them over to the private school.
Really?
Which was very much a 1-for-1 offset.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Are
they going back next year?
Yeah, they're coming back.
To public school?
Yeah. Same public school our kids go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so curious. I'm not going to ask right now, but
no, you can ask
tell me later.
Hockey families.
Hockey. It all comes back to hockey.
It all comes back to hockey. Yay, hockey.
Hockey is delightful.
Yes.
Especially when they fight, but not with you.
But this was
not with kid number
one. This was good because we talked through, and we spoke through process improvement for coaching, for personal performance plans, for work and the clinical side. And then also we went in depth on the family education side and how we do this and how we speak through it and how we break it down. And so I think we really gotten into nothing's ever really a done decision. It's constantly being evaluated. And even right now with public school with our kids, we're still going to evaluate it every spring. Are we still making the right choice? Are we at the right place?
Yeah, no, if we get to like freshman year of high school and we find that the high school is we are going to make a really, really big decision.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let our kids flounder in high school and fail. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Unavailable.
That's the school the kids are at, while the elementary is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the thing was the middle school and the high school, not so much.
We're talking about the private school.
The private
just
school.
To be clear.
Yeah. Couldn't be happier with the middle school.
I love the public school.
The
middle school. I'm sure I love the high school.
And I am a product of, I went kindergarten, actually preschool, through 12th grade at private schools, religious private schools.
Sure. I went to public school except for 1 year in 3rd grade, and that was a nightmare.
You got detention because you decided to hold up your undergarments, which were your socks.
Yeah, I spent the night at my friend's house, and apparently I left my socks there. I don't remember leaving my socks there, but she said I did, and she was like, here, these are your socks. And I was in the process of holding them up in the light going, I don't think these are my socks. And the head nun walked in and was like, Jessica, we don't hold our undergarments up. You're going to detention all day. And I had to miss the day of the school.
I love how she treats knee socks like they're panties.
They weren't even knee socks. They were ankle socks.
Ankle socks like they're panties or something.
Right? I had to miss the day.
They weren't even like booby tassel pasties.
The day of the big school carnival because I was in detention in the basement in the cafeteria. My mother had to come and get me.
The cafeteria was in the basement?
Yeah. Tiny school.
What kind of dungeon was
that? It was
that?
like 3 stories. It was super skinny and 3 stories tall.
Did you go to Wayside School?
I went to Catholic school in
I
Williamson, West Virginia or Kentucky. It doesn't matter. It was right on the border. It's fine. You can look up school and you'll see it. That's why I went to Catholic school though, because of the area. My mom went to the public school and she was like, this. My kid is not going here. Catholic schools. I don't blame her at all, but it sucked for me. She had to come and get me from detention the day of the school carnival, and then I got grounded for 2 weeks for being inappropriate at school. And I tried to explain it to her, and she was like, no, the nun said.
The penguin.
She wasn't even dressed like a penguin. She was wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Have you seen Blues Brothers?
She wasn't dressed up like a nun.
Oh my God, you got like your angry eyes with your angry glasses. How about we wrap up this episode?
They didn't dress up like nuns. They dressed up like
people.
Old people. Sister Donna was delightful. Sister Mary Catherine was a.
Listen, if you're a sister and you got multiple first names,
you're a. You know it. I know it. It's fine.
Oh, we're getting hate mail over this one.
From who? West Virginia?
I don't know. Somebody made it like an hour and a half in.
Sorry, West Virginia. But not sorry because that happened to me and I'm still really angry over it. So
that's okay. It's West Virginia.
Also, I got detention.
The internet doesn't run over there
I got detention every single day for about 9 months because I didn't know how to write cursive when I transferred to that school. Because at that school, they all learned to write in cursive in 2nd grade. And at the school I transferred from, they learned cursive in 3rd grade.
They probably learned how to go hunting and skin things.
In Georgia?
No, I thought you meant in West Virginia.
In West Virginia, they learned cursive in 2nd grade. So I was behind, and that warranted
we can make
West Virginia.
all sorts of Appalachia jokes as we can. But let's wrap up this episode by giving a shout out to the Red Arrow Challenge. And by the way, part of the continuous process improvement is not only making fun of Jessica for rattling papers while I'm trying to talk, but also we need to address the Red Arrow Challenge.
We do.
And in that, it has really not taken off like we thought it would. It's been over a year. We thought we'd have carryover from the Summer Racing Club, but really not so much. We also, COVID. And it was like there was virtual stuff up the wazoo that came out just as we did.
Yeah, but restrictions are loosening.
Yes, they're loosening, so everyone's going and doing free stuff, but also with the virtual stuff, while we were free, we didn't come with the free swag.
No swag.
And on top of now that things are loosening up, people want to go do real races, and we want to go do real races. So it's really not taking off. So this is going to post. This is going to post on Monday, June 28th, 2021. And that is going to be the first day of the last week of this. So really on the 4th of July of 2021 is going to mark the last day of the Red Arrow Challenge. And that also factors into the whole thing of my schedule's gotten busy, and this does take time to run, and it's not like we're getting a lot of compensation for running a free virtual multi-sport competition. So my demands on my time are getting to be more and more. So on July 4th, that is the last day to get your distances in, get them in. On the episode that posts on July 12th, that was the last time we are going to put up the champions to give them shout outs.
Awesome.
We'll be very enthusiastic about it.
Absolutely.
But for the most recent week, which was June 14th through June 20th, the champions were
swimming
20-29, Gator Boy 40-49, Jesse's Girl 60-69, Kilogram Ill.
Running
9 and under, Easy E 10-19, Lucky Dude 20-29, Gator Boy 30-39, The Logan 40-49, Great Juan 50-59, G Smith 60-69, Pac Mac. Featured members, me.
walking
9 and under, Easy E 10-19, Lucky Dude 20-29, Smitha 30-39, Wildcat 40-49, Coach T 50-59, Teddy 68, 60-69, Kilogram Ill. Featured members, me.
biking on road
20-29, H Caner 305, 30-39, Cyclopath 40-49, Coach T 50-59, AR Miller 60-69, Kilogram Ill. Feature members, me.
biking off road
20-29, Husky Mike, that's Husky with an I, 30-39, Dirt Devil 40-49, Cyclone.
sit down paddling. I'm sorry. Yeah, sit down paddling.
Nobody.
Oh, stand up paddling.
20-29, Gator Boy 30-39, Wee West 40-49, nobody. 50-59, Mary Mary 60-69, Sunny D. Feature members, nobody.
Stand up paddling. No, just kidding. Cross country skiing
40-49, El Tiburon 95, 50-59, Elvis.
skating. He lives skating
20-29, Lexi 30-39, SB Tom 40-49, Coach T 50-59, nobody. 60-69, MRH 313. Feature members, me.
hockey
9 and under, nobody. 10-19, Soleil 20-29, Sid with 2 Ds 30-39, Wildcat 40-49, Coach T 50-59, Herb 60-69, MRH 313. Featured members, me.
points
9 and under, Easy E 10-19, Lucky Dude 20-29, Husky Mike 30-39, The Logan 40-49, Coach T 50-59, Teddy 68, 60-69, Kilogram Ill. Feature members, me.
That's the end of this list.
Of this week. All right, only a little bit more time. When this posted really is marking the last week to get your totals in, and then we're going to wrap that up. Whether we do other virtual races and other virtual competitions, I love to put them out there. They're a lot of fun, but it really depends on the feedback. So if you go to Instagram, our handle is Red Arrow HW. Send us feedback, send us a message, and let us know what you want to do. We did some scavenger hunts. We had some other things over time. Let us know. We'll organize them. We'll put them up. But as far as the Red Arrow Challenge, 1 week left. Get them in. And
Do it.
And for now, this has been another episode of the Red Arrow Challenge. Sorry, not the Red Arrow Challenge. This was the latest update for the Red Arrow Challenge. This has been the most recent episode of the Red Arrow Health and Wellness Podcast. We post episodes every Monday, weekly, almost every week. We're pretty good about every week. Check out our other episodes. This has been episode 68. Episode 69 is next week. And the week after that is episode 70. And kid number 1 is coming back to host episode 70. It's going to be a follow-up to episode 40, which was listeners want to know. So email in, direct message in, or if you look on Wednesdays, we also put up a Instagram story where you can directly type in your questions. She is going to take a list of questions, which I have compiled for her, and she's going to interview you and me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. We've had a buttload come in already.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
That's exciting. Okay. Cool.
It's going to be a fun episode. So we've got that. We've got some other fun ones coming up. You and I are going on some trips yet this summer. So fun stuff in the works. But for now, I'm craving some yakitori.
Oh my God, I'm so
chicken
excited.
On a stick. Japanese
also,
chicken on a stick.
There's a mustache at the bottom of my
Oh my God,
glass.
there is a mustache. I'm like, is this some weird sort of foam thing? But it's actually printed on your glass.
There's a mustache on there.
Yeah.
That's
All
fun.
right. Well, Jessica, this has been fun.
So much fun.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.